Okay, so I just want to render the kind of flames at the top here, not the emission down the bottom. So I'm just going to generate a camera there, and the transforms if you want to copy them. And then I want to, so I'm going to set this to 1920, but I want to swap these round, right? So it's 1080 by 1920. So we have kind of a long vertical, so it's kind of flipped around, right? Obviously because the flames are tall. So yeah, let's take a look at you know, lighting and shading this. Well, in fact, it's going to generate its own lights. You know, it has emission, it's generating light by itself. So we got this pyro post process. You can check this apply look, but this, you know, we're not going to be using this as a material. If we drop a pyro bake volume, we can use that. Okay. Before leaving this node, actually, in this post process, you got this convert to VDB and resample volumes. And if you also check this use 16-bit float, that should help out a lot if you're caching this out onto disk. I'm just going to use this one frame here and just render that out. But obviously you can cache this out with a file cache. I'll drop that in, but I won't actually use it. Okay, render your frame range and your wherever you want to save it. Bgeo is or bgeo.sc is fine. Just the same as other, you know, caches that we've done, like any normal geometry in Houdini, Bgeo, and that will be great. But yeah, I'm going to turn off the apply look there. Okay, so we're not seeing anything. And then in the pyrobake volume, we don't see anything. So if you remember, we're not emitting smoke, so I'm going to turn that off. Scatter, we don't want any of that, but we do want this enable fire. So there we go, we got something already. Looks pretty crazy. So maybe let's drop this scale down and let's see what else. Maybe you can use a ramp here. Kind of play around with this ramp a bit. I'm just going to change the view on this again a moment. Let's if we go like that. There we go, you can see it's kind of dropped resolution. Hopefully that should help us out a bit. Yeah. Okay, so what I want to do, is kind of give myself, let's try, I don't know, 250. Give ourselves a bit more. So push this up here. I want to give myself a kind of that nice kind of crispy, sharp flames, you know, that kind of look. There we go. So we get a bit of that. That's looking more interesting. We dial in these values. Drop this down. Maybe move this up. And then this last one, be just down to 0. And bring it up a bit closer. We go, see, pulling out a bit more detail there. And then this color ramp, we can play around with that. You can play around with the colors if you like. So we're kind of moving along it there. So let me go back and see this. Making a torus there for some reason. Don't want that. Cool. So you can see what this does is actually makes a we've got a material network on the inside, and here we've got this power shader, and all this stuff is kind of connected up. You see, that's what I was doing. So we got this material network on the inside, and that will apply it, oops, to this volume. So I think they will have, there'll be some kind of shop material. There is, yeah, shop material path in there. Okay, so we got that. Let's take a look at rendering this. So jump into your, well, we don't need to do that actually. Just go into render view, click render. So there we go. You can see the aces thing there. You can try different ones here, Rec 709 maybe. And let me just start getting some renders out here. You can see we're getting some nice details. So let's jump. Well, before we leave here, just turn on the velocity blur, and then we can get some motion blur. So you check that allow motion blur, and you can see that working. Just change this to physically based rendering. And maybe just give ourselves some more samples. Okay, I think what I might do is just go and simulate a few more frames. So let's, I'm going to set this to manual, just because I know it's going to be struggling possibly with this. Okay, set this back to auto update. I'm just going to go forward a bit. Okay, just escape that, go back to frame 40, I think. Back into our camera, kind of filling the frame there now. And let's go make sure that we are rendering this. Okay, control click so that we render this. And view that as well. There we go. Okay, back into our render view. And let's render out that frame. Okay, there we have it. Press H and we can see, you know, this motion blur really adds a lot to the sense of energy there. But you know, where the flames slow down, you get these nice kind of little crispy details there. Okay, so once you have a nice, you know, full frame range, it'll look great. I might just change this back to sRGB. Yeah, that looks better, I think. It looks hotter. So there we are. Play around, you know, add some collision, set like something on fire. Could add a particle simulation on top of this for the sparks as well. So much you can do. Look at, you know, spreading fire as well. That's really cool. Okay, so that's week 4, fire.